Hello, this video is based off a question that a subscriber asked me a couple of days ago, which was how would a brake affect your driving and what sort of things you want to be doing. So I'll try and cover a couple of things. The main break people tend to have is breaks leading up to holidays. As I said, a good situation is you come into our summer at the moment. Everyone takes at least 2 weeks off over summer, and just say you've got your driving test straight after you come back from holidays. How will it affect you? Well, it will if you're only having one lesson a week. And by that I mean if you're having one lesson a week, whether it be 1 hour or 2 hours, and then you take a 2 week gap, it's leading up to your test, and you test a week later, you're going to be a little bit rusty. So you really need to kind of prepare for the gap, and just say, if I've got a week after the gap from the holidays between now and my test, I really need to try and cram in a couple of lessons to try and catch up so I don't feel rusty. Otherwise, you'll have one lesson when you come back from your holiday and you'll feel, God, I feel rusty and I don't feel confident now, and then straight after that you got your driving test. So you want to have a lesson and another lesson on top of that to try and get you back to where you was, so that when you do take your driving test you don't feel rusty. The other thing you could do is you could speak to your driving instructor and chat about what their availability is to either bring your driving test closer, so just before you go on holiday you take your driving test then, which is a possibility, or a month later, so like when you come back from your holidays you've got a month gap before you take your driving test, so that you're not rushing and panicking and trying to squeeze in extra lessons. So there's different ways to do that. Now, if you want to bring your test closer before you go on holiday, so you're bringing it, say, closer by 3 weeks, you just need to speak to your instructor again and just say, are you actually available on these dates? Because there's no point in bringing it closer and they're saying they're not available, because you've probably wasted time trying to do it. You can use, I'll put a link below, the test cancellation service, and just specify when you want a driving test with them and pay for it. I think it's £18 you pay, they'll try and get you on pretty quick. Unless you've got loads of time spare, then you can sit at the computer and go on the DirectGov site and keep refreshing the page and try and get yourself a test closer. At the same time, you can also put the test further back. I mentioned a few minutes ago, you could put the test further back, so when you come back from your holidays, you're not feeling the pressure of you've got 3 or 4 days for your test. You've got a month, so you can ease yourself back into it, get back to what you was. So when you do take your test, you're not stressed. You're actually going in there thinking that you're going to be passing and everything's going fine for you. If you're going to put it back, you usually find tests that are later back, and you can also use the test cancellation service again to kind of put your test back further then. But I'm sure if you want to put your test back a month, there'll be other instructors who your instructor knows who are quite happy to swap your test dates with them, who've got pupils who are ready, who will swap with you. So there's that side of it, and there's less pressure. Now, there's other things that's about the holidays. If you're having driving lessons and just say, for instance, you take a break in your lessons because of financial reasons or personal reasons, and you take a month or two out and you come back to it, you will be a little bit rusty, and a lot will depend on each individual. Excuse me. A lot will depend on each individual, and it'll also depend on how many lessons they've had. So excuse me a second. If, say, for instance, you're very new to driving and you've had like 10 hours or less, and you have a 2-month gap, the chances are you're going to forget most of everything. You might remember what you've been told, but your muscle memory on your clutch control is probably gone by that point. If you've had, say, 25, 30 hours and you have a month gap, then you'll probably remember most stuff. You might just feel a bit rusty the first hour. So there's that side of it to think about. Now, if you take your driving test and pass, and then you take a month or two out until you get yourself ready, enough money so that you can go and buy yourself a car, and then what you want to be doing then is having a refresher lesson before you go and get yourself a car. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get in a car that you're not even used to, never driven before, and you're going to try and learn how to drive that and remember what you've been taught, which is checking round, controlling the clutch, not taking chances. Because what you'll do is you're going to race off at first, do some silly things. And it reminds me, when I first got my car, I passed my test, and I think it was 2.5 months before I got my first car. And the first hour I got in the car, I thought, James, you're driving like an idiot. Just calm down, remember what you've been taught. But at the time, I didn't realise you could have refresher lessons. So I would recommend having a refresher lesson to anyone who's had a gap after they pass the driving test, whether it be a couple of months or a year or two. And usually an hour or two does the trick, depending on how much of a gap they've had. So a refresher lesson would help you get back to what you want. And all the instructor will be doing was saying to you, right, let's get in the car, let's see what you can remember, and just pointing out things that you're not doing and just talking through the little mistakes you're doing. It's just to get yourself to the point where you're safe on the roads again, because you'll think you can do it all right, but you'll forget in little bits. So I hope this video helps clear up a few things on having gaps, whether it be holidays or having gaps between lessons. Good luck with your driving. If you're taking your driving test, good luck. I hope it goes all right for you. If you pass your driving test and you're looking to get yourself a car, don't be rushing in there. Just choose wisely. Remember, you've got the money. They want your money. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you are. Thank you. Bye.